You kind of got to figure out, how much on that spectrum the item means to you. Another trick I play with people is friends, acquaintances, and strangers. So if we're grouping, say, somebody's mug collection and they have 20 mugs, I ask them to tell me which ones are their best friends, which ones are their acquaintances, and which ones are their strangers. So which do they like the very most, which are in the middle, and which ones are they like, not so crazy about. And that really helps us decide how and which ones we can eliminate. We also want to talk about identifying your attachment. So sometimes we assign human-like traits to an inanimate object, and we have sentimentality, guilt, or fear of poverty. So the object in and of itself is, we have to remember, neutral, but it's our association with it, it's our attachment to it, and sometimes putting our humanness onto that object that we need to talk about. Reframing attachments. Objects should please and serve you and respect the space. Your space is a living entity, right? There's only so much of it that you have. Same thing with time. There's only so much of it that you have. So anything that is in that space should reflect your values and please and serve you. And this is a good time to also review somebody's goals, because if you're really struggling with purging items, it's helpful to go back to the goals that you wrote down in the very beginning and remember why you're trying to work on this space to begin with. Okay, how to purge. So once we've decided what we're going to get rid of, there's so many ways to do it. You can shred, destruct, recycle, donate, sell, maybe a garage sale, eBay, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. I mean, there's like an endless array of options right now for selling. Gifting, okay, so we can give it to somebody else just like most of the time they gave it to us. And box it up for a limited amount of time. And if it's unopened in this amount of time, dispose of it. I have a few clients that do this with clothes. They aren't sure if they want to get rid of it. We box it up. If after 6 months that box is unopened, then you can put whatever time frame you want on it. You're pretty sure at that point you haven't used it, you forgot about it, send it on its merry way. Okay, purging items, keep it simple. Trash bags are your best friend. Set up different areas. You're gonna have your trash, your recycle, your donate, your keep. Those are really helpful just to have bags and start throwing them in. You can also use storage boxes and tubs. Peel the onion, that's an analogy I use a lot. If you're kind of unsure where to start with a space, just start walking through with your donation bag or your bag that you want to give things away by selling or gifting to other people. Just start walking the space. Do one whole layer, just putting stuff in your bag. Then do another whole layer till you get to the point where you've cleared enough room where you can really have some space to work and go at it a little bit, hardcore. Sometimes you need to start in a different room than you intended if you anticipate items from other rooms coming into the space. So I've worked with people before where they want to work on their master bedroom closet, but a lot of those items are going to be traveling down maybe to the basement for storage or what have you. And so we need to work on the basement first before we can work on the space that they originally intended. So if you know that you're going to be storing things in your garage or your basement, but that's a hot mess as well, well, you might need to start with that area first before you can tackle some of your other goals and priorities, okay? Okay, so you've sorted, you've purged. Now we're going to assign a home. Labeling is critical, okay? Sometimes people want to skip this step. This is a little tedious, or they just want to get, done with the project. Labeling is going to help you maintain that space. Space inventory. This is where you need to think about, like I had mentioned before, sometimes you need to tackle one space before you can work on a space you had first intended, because you need to take inventory of that space. Think about vertical space going up instead of just spreading out. Frequency of use and accessibility. So think about 5 zones. So the items you use the most, you're going to want to have the closest to you, right? So if you're organizing your desk, anything you use the most, you're going to want on top of your desk. The next zone is the same room and open storage. So the other things that you use a lot for your home office, say, you might not need to have them on top of your desk, but maybe you're going to have them really close by within arm's reach and open storage that you can grab pretty easily. After that, you're going to want to think about the same room but closed storage. So maybe that's going in your drawers, right? Because you don't need to have it super accessible, but still needs to be closed. After that, you want to think about the same building. So some of the stuff that you maybe had in your home office, you don't use it that often, so maybe it can be stored in some archival boxes in the basement. So it's still close, still in the same building, but you don't need to have it directly in your office. After that is off-site. So I try to discourage people from using off-site storage. It's a lot of money, it's really expensive, and there's certain times and places for that, but not always. So if it's going to be off-site storage, it's really going to be maybe in the cloud. This is more appropriate for paper. Sometimes it's at another family member's home, whatever it is, but that would be the last zone. Do you prefer your stuff out or your stuff away? So sometimes we need to consider what type of home you want to have. Open baskets, shelves, glass cabinets. If your stuff is put away, we need to make sure you revisit it often, right? Because a lot of us are afraid we're going to forget about it. So that's part of the maintaining system that comes at the end of our SPACE acronym. Any questions so far? Okay. Next step is to containerize. So now is the time to select your containers. Like I said, not at the beginning of the project. When we're doing that, we want to think about shape and dimensions. Before you go out and buy anything, measure your space. Don't go out and assume, this looks like it's going to fit. It probably won't. And then you're frustrated because you came home, and then try to cram it in. So you don't want to run back to the store and you're like, it's good enough, I'll make it work. Measure your space first. Think about size. Think about protective capacity. Color, these are more aesthetics at this point. So what do you like? What do you not like? Budget's important, and as I had mentioned before, safety issues as well. Okay, so now you've done all that work, and we need to equalize and maintain our space. So we want to reinforce new habits. So if we are now walking down to the basement every time we're going to actually put something away instead of throwing it on the stairs, how can we start reinforcing that habit? Making sure we get family members on board with this game plan as well. And we need to talk about procrastination and backsliding, which we're going to talk about at the end because it kind of applies to this discussion as a whole. Any questions? No? Okay. All right. So data. So this can be paper or it can be digital data. General rules. Only handle it once. When it comes in, take care of it. Don't put it aside to handle again another day. Every time you touch that paper or email or whatever digital file it is, make progress to move it forward. You want to think about, am I going to do this? Am I going to defer it? Am I going to delegate it to somebody, or am I going to delete it? Okay? Think about, what are you required to keep, either personally or professionally? Is there duplication? Can you find this elsewhere? So if it's a home office and you know that somebody else in your business, you can get access to it, that's duplication. Maybe you don't need to keep it. I get a lot of people that keep every single insurance policy statement that they get from their insurance company. So, which is duplication, right? If you get one that says April 1st of this year through April 1st of next year, well, when April 1st comes around, you can get rid of the other policy because it's no longer active. So there's duplication. Alternate modes of access or recovery. Okay, so instead of keeping the paper in paper form, Can you go digital? Is there a way to scan it and keep it digital instead of keeping every piece of paper? Sorting and purging. Where is the paper coming from? Is it mail? Is it from schoolwork, your job? Is it reference materials? Did it come off the printer? Is it email? Paper and digital data come at us from every direction. Where does it go before processing? So think about all the paper that comes into your home. Where does it go? Does it go to one central location, or is it kind of spread out all over depending on where you felt like putting it down that day? Where does it go during the process of processing that? Where does it go after? Where is it stored? Decide right away if you need to keep or toss. So as soon as you come in, you have all this you went and got your mail, you have all this paper in your hands, decide right then, is there anything you can immediately eliminate from that pile? Toss it out, decide the stuff that you're gonna keep, that's gonna move on to the next phase. If you're keeping it, is it something you need to act on? Or is it something you just need to file? So it doesn't require any action, but you need to keep it for some reason. If it's gonna be tossed, is it recycle, trash, or shred? So kind of in your mind, make these decisions automatically. That's gonna help move that paper along. Or email, whatever it is. Okay, reducing data. Think about something before you print it. Do you really need that document? Can it live in the digital world? Scanning, recycle, shredding, obviously those are great ways to reduce data. Apps and resources to reduce incoming data. So if you are inundated with junk mail, think about using an app such as Paper Karma. Try converting your mail to e-bills and statements. How many of you do that with paying your bills? Get them electronically, good. Manually opt out. You can opt out of a lot of emails, okay? Email, set up folders. So as your inbox is filling up, you can put your inbox or items that you are deferring or delegating into various folders. Unsubscribe. And have a next actions folder. So if you know that something requires something that's relatively quick, but you need to act on it, putting it into a folder to clear it out of your inbox, and then scheduling time each day to go through those items. Either in the morning, in the afternoon, whatever time works for you. If you're a morning person, you want to get up and get to those action items from the day prior, or if at the end of the day you want to assign that time, and everything that comes in, you reserve that last hour, whatever's going to work for you, but that's kind of a good trick of the trade. Saving receipts. So if you anticipate, these are the 4 reasons that you would actually want to save receipts. I have people that have receipts coming out of every nook and cranny of their home. And it's in their cars, it's in their kitchen, it's in their home offices, I mean, it's in their wallets, in their purses. Here are the 4 reasons why you need to save a receipt. If you anticipate needing to return the item, if you're using it for a tax deduction, if the item goes along, if the receipt goes along with an item that has a warranty, and if there's any type of home improvements that receipt relates to. There is how many of you have heard of HomeZada? HomeZada is a cloud-based home inventory system. It is phenomenal. It is free. It's sort of like other things where you get basic features free, and then you can upgrade to a certain amount per month, and then you can upgrade even more to another amount per month. I have the free version, and you can get a lot even on the free version. Basically, it's a home inventory system. So I went through and inventoried everything that's in my home. You can take pictures, video, you can upload warranties and receipts. So if you have a big ticket purchase item, like you just bought a grand piano that cost, I have no idea, $10,000. Take a picture of it, you upload that, upload the receipt, upload whatever other documentation, so it's all kept in the cloud. Then you don't have to hang on to all the paper copies of these things, okay? It's a great system. It also tracks home maintenance too. If you have a couple of properties or rental properties, or you have a second home somewhere, it's a really great thing to keep track of what you have in your homes.